Hello and welcome to another video for Midas Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles. And today we're looking at something that is now very old. It has become very collectible and is very difficult to find, especially in this complete condition. We are looking at the 1974 release by Whitman Publishing from their series of TV tie-in board games. And this particular game we're looking at today is the Follyfoot Save a Pony game. And it is based on the Follyfoot TV series, which aired from originally from the 28th of June 1971 to the 15th of September 1973. It was subsequently repeated for the next 2 years, again with each episode being shown on a weekly basis. And then again it was repeated once again in the early 1980s. There was 3 seasons in all, total of 39 episodes. And it was all based around a retirement park or home for aged horses, and horses that had been rejected from society basically due to their age, or that they could no longer jump because they got injured or what have you. So no longer race or jump or do whatever they used to do. So Follyfoot was a kind of like a retirement home for horses. It's a very popular series. There's a lot of famous actors that starred in it. So Gillian starred in it, Steve Hodson, Christian Rodska, and of course Desmond Llewellyn, who was otherwise known as Q in the James Bond series, and Arthur English, who needs no introduction, very, very famous actor, appeared in many, many different television programmes from the 50s onwards. Okay, so this is the box it comes in. And it says the Follyfoot Save a Pony game. And it's a game for 2 to 6 players containing game board, play money, 6 plastic pieces, dice and shaker. And it says for fun and games, Whitman. And then you can see an image of all the characters that appeared in the TV show. So you've got Dora, just here, who was played by Gillian. She was the main star of the show. Steve Hodson here, or Steve Ross, who was played by Steve Hodson, I should say. He was the co-star. And then you had Christian Rodska, just here, who played Ron Steiker. And then, of course, Slugger Jones, which was played by Arthur English. And Colonel Jeffrey Maddox, who was played by Desmond Llewellyn. Otherwise, we all know him as Q from the Bond series of movies. This is based on the popular Yorkshire television series. Okay, that's the front of the box. I don't think there's anything on the back of the box, but we'll turn it around and have a look. If there isn't, we go straight to the sides and see what's printed on the sides. Okay, as with most board games of this time, there's nothing printed on the back, it's just a plain white background. But on the side of the game here, it says for fun and games Whitman, and it's game number 75116. And there's an image of a horse jumping over a fence, and it's got the Follyfoot Save a Pony game, made in England, Whitman Publishing UK Limited, and it's got 1974 Yorkshire Television Limited. So that's the bottom of the box. If I turn it round the other side to the top, and it's pretty much the same again. The same for fun and games, Whitman 76116. Follyfoot, same image as on the other end, 1974 Yorkshire Television Limited. And it's Save a Pony game, made in England, Whitman Publishing UK Limited. And if we go to the end, yeah, it's the same again. I won't read it again, it's exactly the same at this left side. And again, yeah, exactly the same on the right side. Okay, that's the box. Let's open it up, take it apart, and let's see what we got inside. Okay, so I've removed the game from the box. So this is the game board, and you've got 6 playing pieces, which I've scattered around the board here. You've also got some money, so you've got £5 notes. There's a whole wad of £5 notes, a whole wad of £10 notes there, and a whole wad of £25 notes there. You've got the dice and the shaker just there. And of course the board. Now the instructions are behind here, so let's have a read of the game and let's see if we can figure out how it plays. So it says the Follyfoot Save a Pony game. Follyfoot is a game for 2 to 6 players. Follyfoot Farm have been told of a pony that is going to be put down because its owner cannot afford to keep it. But because Follyfoot Farm in turn cannot afford to buy the pony, they are relying on a friend of Follyfoot to buy it for them. By accumulating money during the first section of the game and by adding prize money won in the Gymkhana, the player with the most money at the end of the game will be the one to save the pony for Follyfoot Farm to look after. So it says contents: the playing board, 6 plastic containers, 1 dice and shaker, 25 £25 notes, 25 £10 notes, and 25 £5 notes. It says how to play the Follyfoot game. To choose who holds the bank, each player throws the dice and the one with the highest number is the banker. Each player then chooses a plastic counter and is given £50 from the banker. Each player then throws the dice to determine the order of play. The highest number goes first, followed by the player on her immediate left, etc. Progress is made round the outside of the board by moving the number of spaces indicated by the dice. Players receive from or pay to the banker money as indicated on the spaces they land on. If during the first circuit a player lands on the entrance to the Gymkhana, she must enter the competitor's enclosure and begin jumping the fences with her next go. If a player hasn't entered the Gymkhana on her first circuit, she must do so on the second. To complete the Gymkhana, a player must clear all the fences. The dice determines the progress of the players as follows. Numbers 1, 3 or 5 means fences cleared, move to the next one. Number 2 means a refusal, try again next time. Number 4 means fence knocked down, try again next time. And number 6 means horse throws rider, go back 1 fence and throw again immediately. If a player is at the second or third fence, or the triple jump, and throws a 2 or a 4, she must go back to the beginning of the triple. Players must throw a 1, 3 or 5 to finish. Rules: if any player runs out of money, she continues to play, keeping a note of his debt until she accumulates enough money to repay the debt. If a player passes start for a second time, she receives interest from the bank on the money she holds. A player with up to £50 receives £5 from the bank. A player with £50 to £100 receives £10 from the bank. A player with £100 to £150 receives £15 from the bank. And a player with £150 to £200 receives £20 from the bank. Players must enter the Gymkhana on the second circuit if they missed the entrance on the first circuit. In the event of a draw, the player to finish higher in the Gymkhana wins the game. The winner. The overall winner of the game is a player who finishes with the most money, thus enabling her to outbid any other player in the purchase of the pony. And it's copyright 1974, Yorkshire Television Limited, made in England, Whitman Publishing UK Limited. Okay, there we have it. That is the game and how you play it. So I wouldn't say it's that complicated a game. It's quite basic. You roll the dice and you follow the board around. Should you get the first time round, come to this Gymkhana entrance, you have to do the race. And there's a money pot there for whoever wins the race there. Second time round the board, again, you have to, whether you go land on there or not, you have to enter the Gymkhana and run the course. And of course, you keep collecting money, and the winner is the one that has the most money at the end of the game. So I'm presuming that the end of the game is twice around the board. So that's pretty much what the instructions said. So there we are. So it's not a hugely long game. I suppose it could be a long game, depending on how many players are playing it. But it is. It sounds to be quite a quick game, and it sounds like a lot of fun actually. So it's not a game that I've ever played. I don't think we ever had this game when we were kids. But it's certainly an interesting game, and if it's anything like the TV series, Follyfoot was a brilliant TV series back in the 1970s, and one that we all watched as kids. Okay, so obvious question: how well did this game do back in 1974? Well, TV tie-in board games were very popular back in the 70s. Pretty much any popular television series had a board game made at some point or other. And that was for all of the top TV series. And Follyfoot was one of the popular television shows. It was geared for teenagers, and it was hugely popular. But even the younger generation still very much enjoy Follyfoot. Probably because of the horses, and the fact that they were saving horses and looking after them. So yeah, it was a good old program. But it did spawn, obviously, this game, and there was a lot of interest in this game at the time. So I'm assuming that, Whitman wasn't a company known specifically for making board games. They were doing more like jigsaw puzzles and other things. So the board games wasn't their main line of merchandise. But they did do a few different games. And so I'm assuming that it done what it was supposed to do. They sold X amount of copies, and it done rather well. So as I say, as with all of the popular television shows of the time, they all spawned their own games and they all sold very, very well. I just don't remember having this game when we were kids, back in 1974. But remember, in 1974 there was no such thing as streaming services, internet, DVDs or VHS video recorders. There's none of that. Technology hadn't arrived yet. So we only had 3 channels, television channels. We had BBC One, BBC Two and ITV. And that was it. And when your programmes aired, if you missed them, you missed them. Unfortunately for us as kids, Follyfoot was shown, the 3 seasons was shown, and then the following year they started showing it again from the beginning. So it was shown for quite some time. I think 3 or 5 years overall. They showed the whole lot twice, and then again they showed it again at the beginning of the 1980s. So it was quite a popular television show, and it ran for quite some time. But so even though the TV series was very popular, and the episodes, if you missed them, you didn't get to see them again. So things like board games, things like annuals, things like colouring books and activity books were all a big thing for us. They were kind of like our video recorders, and our streaming services, because we didn't have any of that. But having these items enabled us to carry on enjoying our favourite TV shows when they wasn't on air, basically. And the games were something that we could do. Every family would usually have a game night, and we used to have a game night on Saturday evenings. There never tended to be anything great on TV on Saturday evenings, so we used to sit down on the table and play games. Quite often we used to have cousins and aunts and uncles come round, and we'd all sit round the table, pair up and play games. So it was a nice time, wonderful time back in the day. But that was how we entertained ourselves back then. So yes, all the games done rather well. This game would have sold very, very well as well. And there we are. So let's move forward then 50 years, which is where we are today, December 2024. Does this game come up very often on the platforms? And the answer to that is no, not very often. It does occasionally come up. I have seen a couple of these come up over the course of the years. They are used and well played with, generally. And you do find that something is generally missing from them when you see them on the platforms. The last one I looked at, I think only had 3 counters, and was missing some of the money. And there was another one I saw, I think, that didn't have the dice or the shaker, but that's fairly easy to remedy. And some of them had some, or 1 or 2 of them had a crack along the board. So they do, when they do come up, they are in various different stages of condition. The one we're looking at today is in absolutely fabulous condition. It doesn't look like it's had much usage at all. obviously it must have had some play, but it doesn't look like it's had very much at all. It is 100% complete, and the board is absolutely pristine. It's almost like it's new. The only wear I can see on this is on the top of the shaker, because it's a cardboard shaker and you can see it's torn, but I think that's where it's been inside the box and it's been pressed down, so that's why the shaker is like that. There has been a name wrote on the inside of the box there, as you can see. It looks like Jana Hoff or something like that, or Jana. Yeah, I don't know what it reads, but there's a name wrote there. But other than that, that's the only downside I can see of this whole game. Other than that, it is fantastic. Fantastic condition, very, very well looked after. Okay, so they don't come up very often on the platforms. When they do, they are in various different stages of condition. So if you are planning on buying a game from the platforms, as I always say, be very careful. Make sure you look at the item you're buying and not just the home page, because a lot of the platforms use stock photographs and you could be looking at a game in this condition, and when it arrives find that it's in a very poor condition. So be careful. I hear it over and over again from customers when I speak to them, tell me that they bought this item on a platform and it turned out to be something different to what they, or not different, but in a poorer, much poorer condition than they thought they was buying. So do be careful and make sure you have a good look and a good read of the used description and the images that accompany the used items. Or alternatively, you don't need to go for that rigmarole. You can come straight to us at Midas Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles, where we don't use stock photographs. What you see in front of you is exactly what you will be receiving when you place the order for this particular item. And any item come to that, as I say, we don't use stock photographs. What you see on the pages is what you will receive. And most of all the new items that we upload onto the website all have accompanying videos. So if you're not happy with looking at the images, you can always go onto YouTube and find the video that associates to that particular game. Okay, so this particular game, we only have the one copy. It is available to purchase on the Midas Touch website as of today. And you can get there very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage board games and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on our website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you're looking for, something old you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you haven't never been able to find, or you've been looking for and you're still searching for, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because the next item we upload could be that item you'd be looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful old Follyfoot board game with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.